Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It is Wednesday morning, August the 27th. Rise and shine, rise and shine. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's doing in the world of weather. Hopefully, you're having a great start to the day. It is absolutely beautiful outside. Look at that shot. We are taking you up to Marion County in Ocala, where things are looking gorgeous. And yep, I think it's going to be another one of those beautiful, beautiful days. It's definitely going to be a drier day, so let's do the things. Hope you're having a great clear that out, and I'll put this into motion. And it's gook. It's not actual rain. As a matter of fact, you have to go off the shoreline. Let me switch over to the Melbourne radar. Even more gook. But you see, there's a lot of stormy-ish weather out that direction. Now, here's the actual setup, and this is not something that is very typical for the month of August. There's a cold front in the area. That cold front is actually going to be drying us out just a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. So, because of that, here we are with a little bit of a drier forecast today. It's going stationary, and don't think for a second that we're going to be talking about any kind of cooler temperatures because as much as I love ya, that's just not going to be a thing at all. So here we are. All right. All right. Out the door. Proof positive. It's not jacket weather. That said, though, it's not like blasting hot either. I mean, we're in the upper 60s in Ocala. So that's kind of nice. 70 degrees in the villages, 75 outside in Orlando. Now, the forecast today does bring up those temperatures, right? We're headed to 90 degrees 1 o'clock, 93 our 3 o'clock temperature. And essentially, we're going to be dealing with some showers and some thunder showers, but we'll be just fine here, right? It's going to be a lower coverage of rain, a nice breeze coming in off the ocean. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous day. So I think we're going to have a really nice forecast ahead of us. I really do. Yeah, yeah, things are going to be looking great. Bruce says, good morning. And I say, good morning back to you. Good morning, good morning. YOLO on YouTube says, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, YOLO. Hope you're having a great start to the day. Kind of an interesting little weather pattern, you know? And I discussed this yesterday when I was on West 2 News Sunrise. And, the whole idea was like, huh, cold front. That's not something that is very normal this time of year. Labor Day weekend, that's when we kind of wrap up summer, unofficially, of course. And notice there also something of note. Those are high temperatures. And I spy with my little eye readings that are not in the 90s. So, for what it's worth, now, granted, it's not in the 90s because there's a lot of stormy weather. This is a stormy forecast. It's not like we're going to be enjoying, um, a cool front. That's not where we're at all. As a matter of fact, it's just stormy. It's a pretty stormy pattern. Yeah. So let's look at the overall weather pattern here, okay? Kind of get an idea of things. First off, there's that old front kind of fading south of us, and that's why we're a little bit drier. Now, for tomorrow, as that front starts to pull away, we're going to start to watch that moisture opportunity build a little bit. Then into Friday, there's another cold front and storm system, and it's going to start to really ramp things up. And thus, it's really going to ring up that rain opportunity. So, shower, thunderstorm chances are indeed going to be on their way up in a pretty good way. If you like that sort of thing, that's why the rain chances are going up. So, for planning purposes, all right, let's talk about rain chances across Central Florida, right? 30% today, 40% tomorrow, and then, yeah, Friday, Saturday, 60% coverage of showers and storms. Bruce is asking if that's a slow Gulf flow. Kind of looks that way, doesn't it? Not necessarily tropical in nature, but yes. Definitely starting to look like that part of the weather pattern. Definitely starting to look like that opportunity for the rainfall. So it's fine. It's fine. That's where we're at. Yep. Rain chances rising. Good times. Good times. All right. So, 7 day forecast. Let's put this together. Okay. Just to kind of illustrate where we are, where we're going. The fact that we're live is no, I'm not doing that. Mostly dry today. Rain chance comes up a little bit for tomorrow. And then, yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Labor Day, Monday, Tuesday. Lots of showers and thunder showers around. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. All right. Tabitha's asking, how does the UCF game look tomorrow? My kid is playing in the band for the first time. Well, listen, as a former marching knight, you know I'm all in on this. You know I'm all in on this. I'll cheer that on all day long. And I'm happy to say that while there is rain in the forecast, it's not big thunderstorms, it's a stray shower. So I actually think we're looking pretty okay for that first game of the season. First frost take two, and as a matter of fact, today at the station is College Colors Day, so we're repping here. We're repping UCF. Now, if I have to go on air, I'll have to change clothes, but I digress. I'm going to do this just as long as I can. Is there a barbecue? I think we're having a barbecue at this day, like a college. I have to look. It occurred to me like today's College Colors Day, but I also think that it's a barbecue, which means I shouldn't bring lunch. Interesting. Very interesting. Matt says, I'll take it versus the tropical version. Yes, I would agree with that. Bruce is asking, did I ever name the Mooney? I feel like Bluey is a good name for it. I don't know. I don't know. It's Bluey. It's a blue airplane. Florida's giving big fall energy right now. Don't fall for it. It's fake fall, Tammy says. Yeah, when we look at the temperatures, let's see. I know we've got the Florida view. Stand by. I'll find it. All right. Here's the current temperatures across the United States. Let's just start there, right? 76 in Orlando. It's 71 in Mobile. So it's not like a massive thing. But I wanted to look up to the north and say, like 69 in Ocala, frankly, is about as nice as you're going to find. Panama City starting at 70. That's not wild. So the Ocala temperature is really, it's 81 in Miami. So, there's that. My buddy Trevor, my dear sweet buddy Trevor, said it's food trucks. They've got food trucks coming to the station today. So go Knights, charge on! It's food truck day. Yeah. Destiny says I'm a Gator transferring to UCF for my bachelor's in forensics. Forced to be a Sooner because it's my husband's team. I'm all over the place. You are all over the place. Don't do the Boomer Sooner thing. When I was early in my career working with Tom Terry, it was like, oh, if I have to hear that again, ugh. I don't know why that's off-putting to me. Nothing against anyone that went to Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Oh boy. Coffee or protein shake today? Already had the protein shake, so we're doing coffee right now. Patty says I had one word when I went outside this morning. Ah. Let's look at some of these other temperatures in Marion right now. Look at some of these readings. Marion County, y'all okay up there? 66 now? The Ocala Airport's reading 69, but 66 in Ocala. I don't know why sometimes the bandwidth gets crummy on the weather computer here recently. Hold on, let me restart that part. You try to be technologically advanced on the coffee talk, and what you end up with sometimes is fighting technology. We'll do that. We'll do that. fine. I'll restart the video feed. It's fine. It's not like we're broadcasting to anybody right now. No, it's fine. Okay. So, as I was saying, I mean, look at that. 66. Now, I can't promise that that's an accurate reading in downtown Ocala because that's not a quality control deal, but like Bellevue is even reading 66. Y'all okay up there? That looks unbelievably nice. Is anybody in Marion County? You guys good? Kyle S on YouTube says, it's incredible. I like that. Jeannie Rowan says, I'm glad he can see comments. Well, that's half the battle here on Coffee Talk is reading the comments. Terry, does this time in the hurricane season steer storms in any particular direction? I mean, this is, we're getting into peak hurricane season, so they kind of steer all over the place typically this time of year. However, there is nothing to watch tropically. Yes, we've got Fernand, however the heck you want to call it, still out there hanging on for dear life. I mean, it looks decent. Elsewhere, though, we'll just take the wide shot here. Here's Fernand in kind of the North Atlantic. There is no development expected over the next 7 days' time. So, kind of love that, right? Now, looking beyond, if we look the week of September 3rd through the 9th, there is the open Atlantic kind of corridor to watch. That'll be something to watch for, right? Otherwise, yeah, not too bad. Let's see here. Patricia says, sitting on my lanai having my coffee. I love that. I love that. So, anyway, nothing tropical. Let's see. What do we have? So, nothing tropical yet, but like our friends in Marion County are waking up to wickedly delicious temperatures. Like, man, that's nice. 69 at the airport, 68 in Marion Oaks. These are not maps that we use during the summertime, right? Because I don't need to go in and look at 5 minute temperatures in your neighborhood because the temperatures this time of year are typically not a big deal. I gotta let me post this to social media real fast. I just think it's funny. I know I'm broadcast. He's broadcasting live. Why does he need to push this? Because I think it's funny, and because the people of Twitter will maybe also think it's funny. Marion County, y'all are enjoying this morning or what? 60s. Love it. All right. Every now and then I gotta push something out to Twitter. I'm not the way I used to be on the Twitter and on the Facebook and all that stuff. But I try every now and then when I think that there's something interesting. All right. Any rain in Port Orange? Diane's asking. So sorry, I'm like so focused on these 60s. I'll look at that in a second. Let's look at Sumter. How are your temperatures looking this morning? Lower 70s, not as nice. Not gonna lie. Like it looks great, not as nice. Not as nice. Let's look at Lake County. I mean, Altoona and Paisley, y'all are hanging out in the upper 60s. 68 in Astor, that's kind of nice. For what it's worth, that's kind of nice. Flagler, I'm sure you're going to be warm because you've got the water there. Let's see. Yeah, Hammock Beach 76, 72 Benell. What's funny though is because a lot of these are not weather service stations, so in the off season during the summer, these kind of go out and I have to refresh them in the winter time. So you could see a couple of these weather stations have gone out or what have you. So I'll reconnect them come winter time, fall and winter time. But for now, one more look. Okay, just give me this. I need this. Just give me one more look at Marion County's temperatures out the door. Man, 66 in Bellevue, 68 in Reddick. Y'all okay up there? Okay, I'm done. All right. Back to today's forecast. And yes, we've got the rain. Let's take a look at Futurecast. All right, here we are. This morning it's quiet, and remember what I had said. Like it's going to be a nice and fairly quiet forecast, right? So here's 9 o'clock, still looking pretty good. 10, 11, 12 o'clock, popcorning up a couple of showers along that east coast sea breeze. That's not too bad. 3, 4, 5. So mainly Orlando Metro off to the east, and then it just kind of fades because there's that dry ribbon of air in play today thanks to that cold front, right? So when we look at today's rain opportunities, the best coverage of rain is going to be kind of the metro off to the east. That's kind of what we're looking at today. Makes sense? Yeah? Maritza says, I'm in Ocala and it's very nice out. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Oh man, this time of year, when you get a taste of cool, it's just so nice, right? It's just so nice. I love it. I love the weather this time of year when we start getting the cool. Muggy meter, I don't have that prepped, but we can just kind of look raw dew points here. All right, let's do this together. I mean, look at the difference, right? Dew point of 75 in Orlando is meh. Dew point of 65 in Ocala, chef's kiss. So here's the muggy meter. 75 in Orlando. Remember this, 75 in Orlando, 65 in Ocala. All right. So it's steamy in Orlando, it's comfy in Ocala. I mean, that's a noticeable difference, right? Love that. I think the station's upload speed must just not be great. Because that's the feed coming in from the station. My computer's doing just fine. If it's not one thing, it's another, I suppose. All right. Lubinho is asking, does that mean we could have a colder than normal winter this year with this cold front in August? You know, here's the thing about that. Could be. There's no promises for any of this, right? There's not. So we'll just do our thing. It just is what it is. All right. Can we see the BSR for more cold fronts? I'm not going to promise more cold fronts. It's still August after all. So don't get too terribly excited about this sort of thing, right? Oh, well. All right. That said, though, we've got 80s for high temperatures here Saturday, Sunday, and into early next week, but I digress. All right. It was a hot summer when we're all loving the cooler temps already. Or the atmosphere's kind of throwing some fun at us, right? Such a millennial still calling it Twitter. It's always going to be called Twitter. I get it. I actually changed my phone shortcuts here so that when it shows up, this is my social media thing on the phone. I've got I made a shortcut so that it still displays as Twitter. So it's still Twitter. It will always be Twitter to me. Oh man. All right. So that's where we're at. How unusual is this for late August? It's not the norm, but it is what it is. Sometimes we get this sort of fun, and I'll take it every single opportunity. All right. So the tropics are quiet for now. Where do we go from here? Let's take a look, shall we? This is the raw GFS model, okay? Rolling through high pressure. Mm-mm-mm. Little area of low pressure out east of us. Nothing significant, but a little something. Monday, September 1st. Homegrown low, maybe? Could get a little something forming. It's possible. Off the slow Gulf low part of the pattern, right? And that's it. Isn't that wild? Through September 12th. That's our activity. Now, if I go to the wide view, like this is the peak of hurricane season. Look at that. When the Madden Julian oscillation is out of phase, wow. 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 That's the peak of hurricane season. Now, that does not dictate the entire rest of the season. That does not. All that says is we're nice and quiet now. Period. Man, I do hope that that continues for forever. I'm not going to promise that that's going to continue for forever, but I digress. All right, so that's the GFS. Let's come over. We'll re-rack that. Let's look at the European. There's this weekend picking up on the slow Gulf low, but non-oceanic based, kind of a, over. That's definitely the slow Gulf low, though. Look at that. Just kind of hanging out around Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle. That's Sunday, that's Monday. And then the Euro basically says maybe something gets going there. Not necessarily anything strong, but maybe something tries to get going there. And then pull up the East Coast. Okay. And then as that pulls away, September 7th, September 8th, 9th, 10th, look at that. Wow. Basin view for the end of the Euro does show some stuff though, right? Like the Euro is a little more said nobody ever typically, but the end of the Euro does show some stuff. So the Euro is a little more active than the GFS, at least in kind of that longer term range, if you will, right? Euro AI. I'm just going to look on the wide. We'll go back to the tighter view. Slow Gulf low, Sunday, bubbling up something around Florida, moving east. Yeah, so I mean kind of along of that old front. Man, what an interesting little pattern we're in. And then Euro AI at the end, trying to show something out near the Virgin Islands and a couple other areas. Yeah, nothing huge. All right, let's look at some ensembles. GFS ensemble. And if you're new to, and I'm just going to roll through this pretty quickly because it seems pretty quiet, but ensembles essentially are just other versions of the model. They take the GFS and the Euro and they just rerun it. Elizabeth says you should develop your own model. I mean, we kind of have that with Futurecast. Mickey says, "Hey Eric, I peeked at the CFS this morning. The model shows the tropics coming alive later this month. Not the most reliable model, but every tool helps." Yeah, I mean, when you say later this month, you mean September or you mean August? Yeah, around September 10th and 11th. GFS has some ensemble members trying to figure that out. So there's that. Let's go over and look at the European ensemble. Slow Gulf low part of the pattern, kind of along an old front. Euro's quiet. Euro AI ensemble. Love that we've got that. Slow Gulf low part of the pattern, developing something pulling away from Florida. And then Euro AI, both operationally and on the ensemble, trying to show something out east of us around the 10th, 11th. There's the Hornets, right? So around the peak of hurricane season, we may have something to watch, which, wouldn't surprise me at all. There's that. I like this. I like that it's quiet. I'm not going to hold my breath that we will stay this quiet, but I like that it's quiet, right? So with Fernand out there, what's next? Whatever the next system would be named Gabrielle. I think it's so interesting that the Wesh upload just seems to be garbage this morning. I'm going to restart my weather computer. How does that sound to you guys and gals? Start, restart, restart. All right, we'll just take a look at some model data here while we're doing this. All right. So re-racking, let's come over here. Let's come back to the GFS. And what I'd like to do is switch over to the forecast for this weekend. And I'm going to switch over to this is called composite reflectivity. So, it's a holiday weekend. And so a lot of people are asking, like, how's the rain going to look? Of course, we've got football, we've got plans. So I'm just going to roll through. All right. So this is Saturday. All right. Stand by, hit that button. All right, so this is 8 a.m. on Saturday. Um, at the moment, the model's showing a few showers up north of us. This is 11 a.m. Saturday. This is getting into about 2 p.m. Saturday. So what we're going to notice here is that there's that storm system, and I showed it to you a couple of minutes ago, but there's that storm system north of our area along an old or what will become a dying cold front. And as that kind of moves through the panhandle there, what we end up with is we watch that essentially kind of slide rains in. So one thing we are going to be watching is the threat for some flooding, particularly on Saturday. You see how scattered showers in the panhandle. This is 5 p.m., kind of starting to fade a little bit through 8 p.m. and then clearing out by 11. So it's going to be an afternoon kind of time frame, right? Then recycling. That's the GFS. Let's look at Saturday on the Euro. I'm focusing on Saturday because the weather prediction, the WPC, surface, not precip total. Let me find this. Surface moisture, no. Surface precipitation. Okay. 1 hour. All right. So this is Saturday at 8 a.m. Pockets of rain here or there. Yeah, so let's re-rack this, right? So 9 a.m. on Saturday, showers, particularly north of town. This is lunchtime on Saturday, scattered showers around. Getting into the stormier weather, that's 3 p.m. East Coast sea breeze gets going, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, scattered thunderstorms around the metro, and then kind of tapering off by about 8 o'clock or so. So that's kind of what we're looking at for Saturday. And the reason that I'm highlighting Saturday is because the Weather Prediction Center, like I'd mentioned, highlighted us as having the chance for flooding rains. And essentially the idea there is any rains that do get going could kind of sit over the same spots for a little while. And thus, that's something that we're going to need to watch, right? So just keep that in mind. Not a huge concern. It's just one of those things. Okay? We're going to be just fine. All right? Questions, comments, concerns, my friends. Anything that you have. Questions, comments, concerns. We'll open up the floor. See how you're doing. Answer anything I can. See, it looks like the Alabama Florida State game will be soaking wet. I mean, it's possible to see some showers there, right? Do I think that it's going to be soaking wet? I think that there's probably going to be a pretty good opportunity for some showers. Do I think it's going to be a washout? Hopefully not. I'm actually flying Stuart Moore up there, so my goal is to have some decent weather. I'll just say that selfishly as it may be. All right. Here's our 7-day forecast. I restarted the computer. Let's see if that makes a lick of difference. Sonia, question, Eric. Have we ever had a year like this before with no landfalling hurricanes? And does it mean hurricanes could form later in the season? So, yeah, there have been years where there were no landfalling hurricanes. Does it mean that that will continue? No. There's still plenty of hurricane season ahead of us. So, nothing at all. Nothing at all. Yeah. Nothing means nothing. Weather doesn't affect me watching OSU from inside my home. There you go, right? Fine, Debbie. The Bay of Campeche. It's a drinking game if you're new. Debbie and the people like to drink, don't you? All right. Rose, of course, my pleasure. My pleasure. Did we have any heavy winds in Winter Haven? I had several ceiling tiles come off my ceiling. When? I, truth be told, I did the morning show yesterday, so I was kind of unplugged yesterday afternoon. I know there were some nastier storms around, but I don't recall exactly where. Yeah. All right. Sandra's asking, how does the Gulf Stream impact or affect storms and hurricanes? I mean, if a hurricane were to get over the Gulf Stream waters, obviously that explodes it. That's very hot water. So it's an energy source. Thankfully, though, there are no hurricanes that we're watching. We're only watching Tropical Storm Fernand, which should be dying sooner rather than later, which I'm fine with. Amy, I know there were some storms, but I honestly I don't know 100%, and I apologize for that. Bay of Neighborly Waters? I don't know what that is. All right. Jason with a Y. Good morning, drinking coffee and talking weather. What could be better? This year reminds me of the setup last year after Umberto. Yeah. Mike says if you say Bay of Fundy, we do a shot. Remember that next time. Whoops. Oh man. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, my friends. Anything at all? How you doing? Anything at all? We're looking pretty good. Oh, just listen to that MJO. Tiffany saying, let's look at the MJO. I totally forgot to pull that up. All right. Madden-Julian oscillation. What is the Madden-Julian oscillation? This essentially is a way to look at where there's lift and where there's not lift, where there's spin and where there's not spin. So areas highlighted, and it's in the most oversimplification, areas highlighted in green have atmospheric support for tropical development, added atmospheric support. Areas that are highlighted in brown are really subdued. And that's one of the reasons why we are just not seeing anything out there right now. Right? So let's roll through. All right. We kind of go in phase a little bit around the Gulf, Caribbean, and around the southeastern United States around September 2nd. All right. So this is looking at 200 millibar divergent wind and velocity potential anomaly. Divergent winds, when you have divergence upstairs, that causes a lifting mechanism. It's one of the reasons why this is kind of how we look for the Madden-Julian oscillation. Yeah. Kevin says I'm colorblind. Well, I can't change the colors here. All I can do is kind of guide you and hope I can guide you. But we are somewhat in phase around the Gulf, Caribbean, and southeastern United States around September 1st, 2nd. Don't be surprised if something doesn't try to sneakily develop there. And then around the Windward Islands, September 8th-ish, there's an opportunity before we go hard out of phase towards September 10th, 11th, and 12th. So there you go. Sandra's asking, do hurricanes ever cross from the Pacific into the Gulf? They have before. It happens. Not all the time. Karen says, making homemade tomato soup and listening. Thanks. My pleasure. And also, that sounds great. Chris, thank you for hanging out with me, buddy. I appreciate you always. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Is that it? Are we done? We just need merch at this point. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. All right. That's all I got. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. All right. Take care. Enjoy. Have a great day. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for Coffee Talk. I will see ya